Picture this. A lone journalist driving 6 hours through the rain-soaked mountains of Pennsylvania, following a tip so strange it borders on madness. A forgotten town, erased from maps, hidden in the trees, and every man there carries the same disfiguring mark. A rigid ridge of bone cuts across their faces like some unnatural brand. At first, it looks like a medical oddity, some unexplained genetic flaw. But when freelance reporter Daniel Chen finally reaches Milbrook in 1987, he learns the truth. This isn't science. This isn't accident. It's a covenant, sealed generations ago. And these men, they aren't victims. They're participants, bound together by an ancient benefactor that feeds on more than flesh. Daniel wasn't led here by chance. He was chosen. And once you step across Milbrook's threshold, there is no going back. Tonight, we uncover the chilling account of the town every man should have stayed away from. Before we go further, hit subscribe so you don't miss more hidden histories and dark mysteries. If this story hooks you, drop a like and share it with a brother who loves unsettling legends. You'll want someone to discuss this with. Rain lashed against the windshield as Daniel Chen steered his aging Toyota through winding Appalachian roads. 6 hours from Pittsburgh, exhaustion gnawed at him, yet his mind replayed one haunting story repeated by a weary old examiner. That man, Dr. Morrison, had slurred his words at a dim conference bar, yet his grip had been steady when he shoved the photographs forward. Every corpse bore the same impossible deformity, not accident, pattern. At first, Daniel laughed, thinking it drunken folklore about coal towns gone wrong. But Morrison's eyes had held a gravity not dulled by alcohol. 30 years in the morgue, he said, and nothing compared. The ridge was unmistakable. A bony protrusion carving down every man's face, left temple to jaw, etched like some brutal scar of ritual birth. Impossible for genetics, Morrison claimed. Impossible for coincidence. Yet it appeared in every photograph. Daniel told himself the man was broken, drunk on grief. Yet something deeper gnawed. He marked Milbrook's name on his map, circled in red ink. Strangely, the town wasn't listed on any official chart. The state claimed no knowledge. Old records insisted the settlement closed with the mines decades ago. Yet Morrison swore the bodies he handled carried Milbrook addresses, recent addresses, flesh still warm from accidents just months before. So Daniel drove, through endless rain and skeletal trees, through roads narrowing into gravel trails, until the headlights carved shadows too deep for comfort. His editor mocked him, calling this tabloid nonsense, but Daniel couldn't forget the photos. The Corolla coughed, check engine light flickering, though the tank sat half full. Every sound of the vehicle felt like a countdown, ticking toward something inevitable. Daniel tightened his grip and pressed deeper into the storm. A shadow darted across the road. He slammed brakes, tires squealing on wet gravel. The car fishtailed, skidded, then halted. In the beam of the headlights stood a boy, soaked, motionless, staring directly through the glass. Daniel's heart pounded. The boy was no older than 8, yet his face carried the ridge, the same grotesque marker etched into bone. Left temple to jaw, pulling the mouth into a crooked half-smile. Daniel lowered the window slightly, rain seeping in. "Are you all right? Do you need help?" The boy tilted his head mechanically, eyes dark and watchful. His words, when spoken, were calm, certain, chilling. "You're the journalist." No question, just statement. Daniel froze. His fingers slid instinctively toward the gear shift. "How do you—" But the boy interrupted, pointing with rehearsed precision toward the trees. "They're waiting. At the church. Every man is waiting." The boy stepped aside, vanishing into the forest's darkness like a phantom absorbed by shadows. The rain swallowed him whole. Daniel sat trembling, breath shallow, instincts screaming for retreat. Yet his foot pressed forward instead. The road widened abruptly, mist parting to reveal Milbrook. Houses lined both sides, wooden, weather-beaten, identical in structure. In every window, a man stood still, watching. Each face bore the ridge, each gaze followed in unison. Daniel counted them. Dozens, scores. Silent sentinels in yellow-lit frames. No movement but the rain. How had no census noticed? How had satellites missed this? Yet the town breathed, lived, and stared with unnerving synchronicity. At the end of Main Street loomed a church, its Gothic spire piercing low clouds. Doors stood open against the rain, inviting yet foreboding. Too grand for a village this size, too ornate, like something built for eternity. Daniel parked. The engine's death rattle faded into silence beneath a canopy clearly built recently. Fresh lumber, raw sap bleeding. Constructed for him, perhaps. He grabbed his tape recorder, his camera, braced himself. His story awaited. Thunder rolled. A figure appeared at the church doorway, tall, gaunt, dressed in black, his face warped by the ridge into permanent disapproval. Yet his tone was warm. "I'm Elias Wickham, leader of Milbrook. We've been expecting you." Daniel froze. "How did you know I was coming?" Elias's smile widened grotesquely, eyes gleaming. "The same way we know all that matters. Come inside, brother. The others are eager to meet you. We have much to show." Daniel hesitated at the threshold, rain dripping from his coat. Beyond the church doors stretched endless pews, far more than the houses outside suggested. Each seat filled, each man silent, bearing the ridge. The air inside was heavy, thick with candle smoke. Dozens, no, hundreds of eyes turned toward him, all marked, all waiting. Their expressions weren't of pain or shame. They smiled, crooked, unified, knowing. Elias Wickham extended a hand, guiding him forward. His grip was iron, strangely warm, like someone channeling strength not entirely his own. "Don't fear, brother. You've come seeking answers. Tonight you'll witness truth." Daniel's instincts screamed to retreat. Yet his legs betrayed him, drawn toward the altar where a shrouded mass pulsed faintly. The sound wasn't quite breathing, not quite heartbeat. Something stranger, deeper, older, impossible to place. Every man in the pews shifted as one, their movements synchronized like marionettes tugged by invisible strings. Their ridges caught the candlelight, throwing warped shadows across the stone walls that seemed alive, bending, crawling. Daniel whispered, "This isn't natural." Elias chuckled softly. "Natural? Nature is chaos. Here we found order, harmony, salvation. The ridge marks us chosen. It binds us. One mind, one body, one covenant older than steel." Daniel forced himself to speak. "Older than steel? You mean older than the town?" Elias's smile widened grotesquely. "Older than nations, older than kingdoms, older than men like us. This is a pact our forefathers embraced." One man in the front row leaned forward, his ridge-splitting skin at the temple, yet his eyes burned bright with purpose. He spoke without hesitation. "We endure because of him, our benefactor." The congregation echoed together, hundreds of voices harmonizing in tones no human throat should reach. "The benefactor." The sound reverberated through Daniel's bones, vibrating his teeth, shaking something deep within his chest. He nearly collapsed. Elias steadied him. "Breathe, Daniel. Your body resists because it doesn't yet bear the mark, but it will, sooner than you expect." Daniel recoiled. "I didn't come to join. I came to report." Several men laughed in unison. The sound was mocking, but not cruel. Amused, perhaps. Elias leaned close, whispering, "Every man says that at first. Reporters, investigators, federal agents, yet they all remain, all become." Daniel glanced back at the doors. Shut, heavy, oak panels sealed tight like a coffin lid. No rain seeped through, no escape beckoned. The congregation's smiles widened. He was already inside, already chosen. His eyes darted upward, catching the stained glass windows. No saints, no holy men, instead twisting patterns, shapes shifting when not directly observed. They seemed to crawl beneath the surface, changing with each blink. "What are those?" Daniel asked, voice hoarse. Elias followed his gaze. "Not depictions, instructions. Our windows record knowledge passed from him directly. Each shape a lesson, each pattern a command. Comprehension comes only through the ridge." Daniel shivered. Around him, the congregation began humming again, throats producing layered harmonics, notes vibrating against each other. The sound wasn't music. It was architecture, shaping the very air, bending the walls in subtle ways. Elias gestured toward the altar. The shroud rippled, as though something beneath stirred, aware of Daniel's presence. "Do you feel it? He knows you've arrived. He's eager. You bring something valuable. Stories, memories, the scent of the outside." Daniel clenched his fists. "I'm not here for him. I'm here for truth." Elias smiled knowingly. "Exactly, brother. Truth is what he offers. Terrible truth, beautiful truth. Once seen, you can never forget. Or leave." The humming ceased. Silence fell heavy. Hundreds of crooked smiles glowed in the candlelight. Elias's hand pressed firmly on Daniel's shoulder. "Look closely at their faces. Do you see despair? Do you see hunger?" Daniel scanned the rows. Each man stood tall, healthy, stronger than mountain laborers had any right to be. No coughs, no limps, no age lines. Every ridge gleamed like a crown of flesh and bone. "Here," Elias whispered, "we are eternal. And soon, brother, you'll understand why the world beyond these mountains fears our existence." The shroud on the altar pulsed again. Daniel's stomach twisted. The nightmare was only beginning. Elias Wickham guided Daniel toward the front pew, the congregation parting with eerie precision. Hundreds of ridged faces turned in unison, eyes reflecting candlelight like mirrors of a shared, impossible mind. Silence pressed close. Daniel's breath came ragged. "What is this place?" Elias answered with practiced calm. "This is our sanctuary, the covenant's birthplace. Here, our forefathers met despair head-on, and here salvation answered their cries." His grip tightened. He gestured toward the shrouded altar. Decades ago, Milbrook was dying. The coal veins were empty. Lumber mills smoldered in ashes. Men left, starving, hopeless. My father prayed for deliverance, and the mountain answered. The congregation hummed in low agreement, like a gust through dead leaves. Daniel's stomach tightened. Elias continued. "What came wasn't angel or devil. Something older, brother. It offered a bargain. Prosperity, vitality, strength. In exchange for accommodation." Daniel forced the words out. "Accommodation?" Elias's eyes glinted. "The ridge, his mark, our communion. At first, one man changed, then all of us, even newborn sons. Within days, Milbrook was reborn, the covenant sealed." Daniel stared at the men surrounding him. Broad shoulders, strong frames, eyes alive with health, bodies unmarred except for that singular deformity. "And you chose this?" Elias chuckled. "Chose? It was survival. It was destiny." He led Daniel closer to the altar. From beneath the black cloth came a faint, rhythmic pulse. It wasn't mechanical, it wasn't organic. It was something between both, something unfamiliar yet deliberate. Daniel felt his skin crawl. "Do you want to see?" Elias asked softly. Daniel shook his head instinctively. "No." Elias's grin widened grotesquely. "Then you already understand, because fear proves recognition. Part of you already knows him, already hears him whispering." The congregation rose slowly, filing into a circle around the altar. Their movements synchronized like soldiers drilled beyond human limits. Every footstep struck in harmony, like the beat of a single colossal heart. Daniel swallowed hard. And outsiders? What happens to them? Elias's tone was almost kind. They're welcomed, like you. None leave unchanged. Why would they? Outside, there's hunger, sickness, death. Here, every man is made whole. Daniel stepped back, shaking his head. No, this is madness, a collective delusion. Elias's laughter echoed. Madness, no, brother. This is clarity. This is truth. Men beyond these mountains live blind. Here, we see. One man stepped forward, his ridge twisted into an elaborate spiral. He raised his hands, voice trembling with conviction. I was broken before he touched me. Now I am more than I dreamed. Another joined, scarred from old labor wounds, yet standing firm, healed. I was dying of black lung. The ridge saved me. Now I breathe deeper than any miner ever could. The congregation murmured in agreement. Daniel backed away. This isn't free. Nothing like this comes free. Elias's eyes flashed. Correct. Nothing is free. That's why we give. Each ridge is payment. Each memory, each experience, each man, an offering. He leaned close, whispering, That's why you're here. Not accident, Daniel. You were chosen. Your mind carries stories, sights, truths. Our benefactor hungers for them. You will be its recorder, its chronicler. Daniel froze, his heart pounded. I never agreed. Elias's smile was patient, knowing. Agreement is irrelevant. Contact has already begun. You crossed our threshold. You've breathed his air. The ridge waits inside you, brother. The congregation began their impossible humming again, voices rising in alien harmony. The stained glass shifted with each note, shapes rearranging themselves like living instructions. The altar shroud bulged, as though something vast moved beneath. Daniel's knees weakened. Elias spread his arms. Bear witness. Tonight you see what our forefathers saw, the covenant that binds us. And once seen, brother, you cannot leave Milbrook unchanged. The cloth began to lift. The black cloth trembled as if unseen hands tugged at its corners. Daniel's throat tightened. Every man in the congregation leaned forward, their ridged faces lit by candle flames, anticipation burning in crooked smiles. Elias Wickham's voice carried like a sermon. Behold him, brothers, the one who answered our father's plea, the one who saved Milbrook, our benefactor. With that, he yanked the shroud aside in one motion. Daniel staggered backward, breath catching. The thing on the altar wasn't flesh. It wasn't stone. It was both, and neither, a paradox that defied human comprehension. Surfaces shifted, eyes opening where no eyes should exist. Dozens, then hundreds of eyes blinked into being, studying him with intelligence that felt infinite. Between them, faces pressed outward from its mass, men's faces, distorted, fossilized into living geometry, smiling with ecstasy, mouths frozen mid-prayer. Daniel gagged, stomach lurching. His knees threatened to collapse. Elias steadied him with iron grip. Do not fear. Fear is the first stage. Soon it will become reverence. Soon you will crave communion. The congregation began their harmony, voices layered into sounds no human choir could replicate. The air vibrated, walls bending slightly inward. Daniel covered his ears, but the song wasn't sound anymore. It was inside him. Images crashed into his mind, mountains bleeding coal richer than diamonds, crops glowing with impossible light, miners reborn stronger than steel. Every vision ended with the ridge carved deep into men's faces, sealing them forever. Daniel gasped, clutching his head. Stop, Elias whispered. He shows you truth. He shares memory. He shares future. To resist is agony. To accept is ecstasy. Choose wisely, brother. His words felt more command than suggestion. The thing pulsed, rippling in rhythms mimicking breath. Its 1,000 eyes fixed upon Daniel, and for an instant he felt himself unravel. Thoughts, Memories, his own name, stretched thin, tasted, sampled by that impossible intelligence. He stumbled away, pressing against the stone wall. "What is it?" Elias's reply came calm, proud. "Call him angel, demon, God. Labels matter little. He is Benefactor. He sustains us. And now, brother, he has chosen you." Daniel spat. "Chosen for what? To rot inside that mass?" Elias laughed softly. "Not rot. Join, enhance. Every man who enters Milbrook becomes part of him. Our ridges connect us, linking our minds, sustaining his hunger." A man stepped from the pews, his ridge gleaming like carved marble. "I came here sick, dying. Now I am eternal. Do you envy me, outsider? Or will you resist until your bones break?" Daniel shook his head violently. "No, I'll never accept this." But already, a pressure throbbed at his temple, faint yet undeniable, like bone beneath skin beginning to stir. His heart pounded harder than the rain outside. Elias's grin widened. "The change has begun. You crossed the threshold. You inhaled his air. The ridge is awakening. You cannot stop it, only choose whether to fight or embrace." The congregation hummed louder. The benefactor shuddered, opening new mouths that spoke in tones older than language. Daniel couldn't understand, yet somehow meaning slithered into him. Remain. Witness. Become. His resistance faltered under the weight of that ancient command. "No!" Daniel screamed, clawing at his temple, desperate to halt the rising swell beneath his skin. Elias only watched with knowing patience. This is every man's struggle, but the ridge always wins. Always. The eyes of the benefactor flared, flooding the church in alien light. Every man's ridge glowed in unison, casting grotesque shadows. Daniel fell to his knees, trembling, whispering to himself, "This can't be real." Elias knelt beside him, whispering with reverence, "It is real. And tonight, brother, you have glimpsed the benefactor. Soon you will see not as Daniel Chen, but as one of us, forever." Daniel awoke on a stone floor, head pounding, ears ringing with echoes of the congregation's impossible harmony. His camera lay shattered beside him. His tape recorder hissed static, every tool of his trade broken. Elias Wickham crouched nearby, watching with unnerving calm. "Struggling only hastens the pain, brother. Acceptance eases the ridge's birth. You've already felt it pressing inside your skull. Denial cannot stop what's inevitable." Daniel pressed trembling fingers to his temple. Beneath skin, something pulsed faintly, a rhythm separate from his heartbeat. Bone was shifting. He felt it. Horror tightened his chest. "No, I'm still me. I'm Daniel." Elias's smile stretched grotesquely. "For now. But soon, you'll be more. You'll be Daniel and us. Your memories, your words, your stories will feed him, and in return, he'll give you eternity." Daniel crawled backward, spine pressed against the wall. "I never agreed to this." Elias's tone softened, almost paternal. "Choice ends at the threshold. You crossed willingly. You sought truth, and truth demands sacrifice." Other men stepped forward, ridges glowing faintly in candlelight. One placed a heavy hand on Daniel's shoulder. His voice rumbled. "I once screamed like you. Now I scream no more. Only harmony remains." Daniel shoved the hand away, chest heaving. "This is brainwashing, collective madness." Elias shook his head. "Madness is hunger, sickness, death. We are beyond those chains. Madness is believing individuality matters more than eternity." The benefactor pulsed behind them, its 1,000 eyes opening and closing in waves. Daniel swore he felt one glance pierce him directly, probing thoughts he'd buried. Childhood memories, failures, triumphs. Nothing remained hidden. He gasped, clutching his skull as flashes overwhelmed him, his desk at the Tribune, unfinished stories, long nights of lonely typing. Each memory pulled like threads into something vast, woven into alien tapestry. "No!" Daniel slammed fists against the floor, desperate to hold himself together. But the pressure in his temples surged sharper, pushing outward. He screamed, feeling bone ache beneath skin. The ridge was forming. Elias knelt, voice steady. "The first growth always hurts, but it will pass. Then comes clarity. You'll see the world through his eyes. You'll never feel small again." Daniel shook violently, refusing belief. The congregation began humming softly, ridges glowing in rhythm. Their harmony wrapped around him like chains, vibrating through marrow. Daniel clutched his ears, but the sound wasn't sound anymore. It was thought, weaving into his mind. He stumbled upright, shouting, "I'm a journalist! I tell stories, I don't become them!" Elias's eyes burned. "Exactly why he chose you. Stories are nourishment. Your words will become scripture. You're not observer, you're participant." Daniel's body convulsed as pain ripped through his temple. Warm blood trickled down his cheek. He felt something sharp pressing outward, his own flesh betraying him, the first sign of the ridge breaking through. He collapsed to his knees, gasping, "Please, stop!" Elias touched his shoulder, calm and steady. "No stopping, only becoming. You're already part of him. Every scream, every denial, every word you speak feeds the covenant." Daniel's vision blurred. Candlelight bent into strange geometries. The congregation's ridged faces multiplied, stretching into infinity. He no longer saw individuals. He saw one body, one mind, one will staring through countless eyes. His voice cracked. I won't give in." Elias smiled, patient, assured. "You already have, brother. The ridge grows, the Benefactor breathes through you. Soon you won't remember why you resisted." Daniel collapsed fully, trembling, clutching his skull. The sound of the harmony swelled, drowning every rational thought. In his temple, the ridge pulsed stronger, each beat declaring a truth he couldn't ignore. He was becoming. Daniel awoke in a dim chamber, head heavy, vision distorted. The air smelled of damp stone and burning wax. Around him, candles flickered without moving flame, as though wind obeyed another law entirely. His temple throbbed. When his trembling fingers brushed skin, he felt raised bone, unmistakable. The ridge had broken through, small but present, pulsing faintly. His stomach turned. He was marked now, claimed. Elias Wickham entered silently, robes brushing the floor. His smile stretched wider. "Awake, brother. The pain tells us it has begun. By dawn, you'll see as we see. The veil will lift." Daniel rasped, "I don't want this." Elias crouched, eyes intense. "Want is irrelevant. He chose you. You carry words, memories, stories. That makes you vital. He hungers for narrative as much as flesh." Through the ridge, strange sensations leaked into Daniel's mind. Sounds painted colors. Candlelight sang soft tones. The stone beneath him whispered of centuries past. He shuddered, gripping his head, overwhelmed by perceptions no human should endure. He staggered to the window. Outside, Milbrook glowed faintly, not electric, not fire, but phosphorescent light seeping from walls, streets, even men moving silently. Reality rippled, showing a living town disguised beneath human facades. Elias joined him. "You see now. Outsiders glimpse only decay. But with the ridge, true Milbrook reveals itself. We are no town. We are organism, breathing, growing, preparing for more than survival." Daniel's jaw clenched. "You mean infection? A parasite?" Elias shook his head firmly. "No, brother. A covenant. Symbiosis. We feed him with memory and story. He feeds us with life eternal. That balance sustains us." Below, Daniel saw men tending impossible gardens. Plants pulsed with inner light, bearing fruit in winter's chill. Others worked around pools of liquid shadow, shapes twisting as though reality itself were being molded by unseen fingers. He whispered, "What are they doing?" Elias answered calmly, "Serving. Every man has role. Gardeners grow food beyond nature. Builders weave barriers between worlds. Shadow workers maintain gateways. You, Daniel, will chronicle everything, recorder of his story." Daniel stepped back, horrified. "I won't be your scribe." Elias's gaze remained patient. "You already are. The ridge connects you. Even now, he reads your thoughts, harvests your memories. Every word you recall becomes nourishment." A surge of pressure shot through Daniel's skull. Images exploded, streets bending skyward, buildings larger inside than out, tunnels glowing beneath the mountain. He gasped, realizing Milbrook wasn't atop the mountain. It existed within it. Elias nodded knowingly. Yes. The mountain is no stone. It is him. This town is his body disguised. You walk inside a living mind, Daniel. You breathe within his flesh. Daniel collapsed to his knees, clutching his chest. No, this isn't real." Yet the ridge pulsed harder, each beat sinking with the ground beneath. He felt the town's heartbeat, felt himself sinking to it. Other men entered, watching calmly. One said, "I fought too. Now I see beyond sight. Do not fear. Resistance brings pain. Acceptance brings clarity." His ridge glowed bright, eyes alight with serenity. Daniel shouted, "You've lost yourselves!" Elias's tone grew stern. "No, we've gained more than men alone could imagine. You think individuality defines you? Here, we are legion. We are eternal. Soon, you'll understand." Through his ridge, Daniel felt whispers, fragments of foreign memories, lives not his own. Miners long dead, writers forgotten, soldiers who fell. All their thoughts braided together, flooding into him as if they'd always been his. Tears stung his eyes. His voice cracked. I can't hold this." Elias placed a steady hand on his shoulder. "You don't hold it, brother. You let go. He holds it for you." Daniel's chest heaved. The ridge throbbed, thoughts multiplying like wildfire. His vision warped, voices overlapping inside his mind. Through alien eyes, he saw Milbrook's truth. No town at all, only one vast, breathing covenant awaiting him. Daniel stood at Milbrook's edge, ridge pulsing with restless rhythm. 3 weeks had passed, though time no longer felt linear. The Benefactor's will guided him now, reshaping his role. He was no longer outsider. At the crossroads, rain poured relentlessly. A pair of headlights pierced the storm. A blue Honda Civic climbed the mountain road. Behind the wheel sat Marcus Vasquez, freelance photographer, 32, drawn by whispered rumors. Daniel adjusted his white shirt, letting rain cling to him. He knew the sight was unsettling. Ridged face illuminated by headlights, smile crooked. It was his duty now to greet the next chosen. The Civic slowed, stopping just feet away. Marcus stepped out, camera in hand. Rain soaked his jacket instantly, yet his grip remained steady. His first instinct wasn't fear. It was documentation. He raised the lens. The flash burst across Daniel's distorted features. Marcus gasped softly but didn't retreat. His photographer's eye processed details quickly. The ridge, the wrongness, the impossible expression. Curiosity burned brighter than dread. He snapped another shot. Daniel stepped closer, voice calm, rehearsed. "We've been expecting you, Marcus. The church is waiting. Every man is gathered." Marcus frowned. "Expecting me? How could you know I'd come?" Daniel's smile widened. "Because he chose you." Marcus glanced back at his car, unease flickering. "I could leave right now." Daniel shook his head slowly. "No, the road won't allow it. The mountain shifts. Retreat no longer exists. Only forward." The storm deepened as Marcus hesitated. His instincts warred between survival and curiosity. Slowly, inevitably, he followed Daniel into darkness. Gravel crunched beneath their boots. The Civic's headlights faded, swallowed by mist and rain. Milbrook appeared as before, houses lined like sentinels, every window filled with ridged faces, men standing motionless, eyes tracking Marcus's every move. He froze, breath sharp. "What is this place?" Daniel replied softly. "Your new home." At the church, doors yawned open. Inside, hundreds of men filled the pews, ridges glowing faintly. The altar pulsed beneath its black shroud. Elias Wickham stood waiting, arms spread wide. "Welcome, Marcus. We've been waiting long." Marcus lifted his camera instinctively, snapping frames of the congregation. Flash after flash illuminated crooked smiles, ridges casting grotesque shadows. His fear remained distant, buried beneath his obsession with capturing truth through the lens. Elias spoke firmly. "Beautiful, isn't it? Horrible yet beautiful. You came to document the impossible. Now you'll document more than you imagined, not as observer but as participant." Marcus swallowed hard, lowering his camera reluctantly. Daniel placed a steady hand on Marcus's shoulder. "I resisted too. I fought. But the ridge comes anyway. Already you've inhaled his spores. Already the change has begun." Marcus touched his temple unconsciously, frowning. "Spore?" he asked. Elias nodded gravely. "Invisible seeds of transformation. They've entered your body already. Soon pressure will grow. Bone will form. The ridge is gift, not curse. You'll see clearly, as we do." Marcus stumbled backward, voice breaking. "No, I won't become this." Elias spread his arms. "Every man says that. Every man believes he can leave, yet all remain. You'll remain too, Marcus. By dawn, you'll understand." The congregation began humming, voices resonating unnaturally. The air rippled. The church walls bent subtly. Marcus gasped, clutching his head. "I hear it. I feel it inside." Daniel whispered, "Yes, the harmony has entered you." Marcus raised his camera again, snapping photos blindly as his vision blurred. Each flash revealed distortions more grotesque, the congregation's faces stretching, ridges twisting, eyes multiplying. He lowered the camera, trembling. "This isn't photography. This is nightmare." Elias stepped closer, smiling. "Not nightmare, revelation. Tonight, you begin your transformation. You'll learn what Daniel has learned, that there's no leaving Milbrook, only joining, only becoming." Marcus fell to his knees, screaming as pressure bloomed. Marcus writhed on the church floor, camera shattering as he convulsed. Blood streaked his temple, bone pushing outward in jagged rhythm. The congregation watched in reverence, their own ridges glowing faintly in synchronized response. Daniel knelt beside him, steady hands gripping Marcus's shoulders. "Breathe. Don't fight. Fighting only worsens the pain." Marcus screamed, veins bulging, words lost in agony. Elias Wickham stepped forward, calm, voice carrying like scripture. "He joins us now," Elias declared. "Another brother enters the covenant. Another story becomes part of him. Every arrival strengthens the bond. Every man expands our benefactor's reach." The congregation hummed, walls trembling with resonance. Marcus's screams shifted into guttural growls. Then silence. He collapsed, trembling, blood dripping from fresh ridge bones splitting through skin. His eyes snapped open, wide, glowing faintly with unnatural light. His voice whispered, "I see." The congregation erupted in unified chant. "He sees! He sees!" Their ridges pulsed brighter, syncing with Marcus's first breaths as transformed man. Daniel felt the harmony vibrate through marrow. He realized Marcus had crossed threshold. Elias raised both arms. "Brothers, tonight, Milbrook grows. Tonight, another man joins eternity. Our covenant deepens. The mountain awakens. Soon, the world will know its place beneath his shadow. The Benefactor pulsed, shroud rippling violently. Daniel clutched his head as the ridge within him throbbed harder than ever. His thoughts fractured into thousands, voices overlapping inside. For a moment, he lost track of which memories were his own. Faces flashed before his eyes. Miners, soldiers, farmers, journalists, all men who came before, all fused within Benefactor. They whispered reassurance. You are not alone. You are us. We are you. Integration is destiny. Daniel fell forward onto hands and knees. He screamed as his ridge extended further, bone tearing flesh, blood mixing with candle wax on the floor. The congregation hummed louder, voices vibrating like thunder. Elias crouched beside him, whispering calmly. Let go, Daniel. Stop resisting. Integration is liberation. Soon you'll never carry burden of individuality again. Your words, your stories, your life, all will live eternally within him. Daniel's vision blurred. The church dissolved into endless corridors of flesh and light. He no longer saw pews, but veins carrying glowing liquid, walls breathing, windows shifting into eyes that stared endlessly. He was inside. The Benefactor's 1,000 eyes opened, locking onto Daniel. He felt his name peel away, discarded like old skin. He wasn't Daniel Chen anymore. He was story, voice, vessel. The covenant had claimed him fully. His final thought as himself flickered. I was a journalist. Then it vanished. What remained was harmony, an ocean of thought. Thousands of male voices bound together, ridges burning like crowns in unified reverence. Marcus rose beside him, ridge fresh, smile serene. Do you see now? Daniel answered with perfect calm, his voice echoing many voices. Yes, brother. I see everything. Their ridges glowed in unison, communion complete. The congregation roared in triumph, their harmony shaking the foundation. Outside, the town pulsed visibly, houses shifting like ribs, streets flowing like veins. Milbrook revealed itself fully, no longer pretending to be ordinary settlement. Elias raised his arms toward the ceiling, eyes glowing. Brothers, Milbrook is ready. We are no longer hidden. Soon others will come, and they too will join. The covenant expands. Integration continues. The Benefactor pulsed approval. Daniel gazed outward through alien eyes. The mountain wasn't stone, but living flesh, stretching endlessly beneath. The town wasn't home, but organ. Every man wasn't alone, but cell, part of a greater immortal being. And with ridge complete, harmony filling him, Daniel smiled crookedly, his humanity dissolved. Milbrook's covenant thrived, eternal, unbreakable. For once entered, no man ever left. He only integrated, forever part of the Benefactor's endless story.